Alright, welcome back to CAD class number 2 / chapter 2. In this class we're going to be going over drawing lines and basically just kind of basic line commands and editing commands. So just kind of keep it kind of simple. So we're going to start off with a line and then kind of expand from there. So lines can be found on the Home tab here, and then you'll find them right there under the line. Now there are several different ways to draw a line, so I kind of challenge you to pick the best way for you to draw a line. So way number 1. Now noticing at the bottom here, I'm going to turn off all of my blue except for that one there. But just to kind of keep it consistent. So the first way to draw a line is honestly one of the harder ways to draw a line, but it is the way I learned to draw a line. So I pick a point to start the line. Now I could pick a point, anything I want, so it could be northing, easting, or an x and y coordinate. So if I wanted to start a point at 0, 0, I would enter it here, hit enter, and it would start me from 0, 0. Now from here I can do whatever I want. I can either go to another point like 1, 2, or vice versa. So anything I want to do. Now the other way to draw a line, instead of just using coordinates, is to use the @ symbol, the distance you want to go. So I'm going to use 5, and then the angle symbol, then 45 degrees. Now you might be wondering, okay, I hear you typing the keys, but where is it going? It's actually typing right down here. You can see it right there. So you'll see, so I have the @ symbol, then I have the distance, which I'm using 5, and then I have the angle symbol, which is also less than, I believe, and I'm going at a 45-degree angle. So I'm going to hit enter, and that will draw me a line that is 5 inches, 5 feet, 5 whatever at this point, in the 45-degree direction. So that's one way to draw a line, and sort of kind of the old school way to draw a line. Two different ways really to draw a line, because you can use coordinates, or you can use what the just shift @ 5, which is the distance, angle symbol, which is less than, and then put the angle after it, and you can draw that way. Now with the lines in here, and this is going to start to get kind of crowded, the easiest way to kind of keep our screen clean as we're doing this is if you just click on one of the lines until it turns blue like that, and you can use your delete key to get rid of it. Now if your delete key does not work, there's a variable to fix that, but also there is also the erase command up here, which looks like a pencil eraser. If you click that, and you can click the line as well to get rid of it. So let's go back into the line command now, and now I'm going to turn on this one here, which is called dynamic input. So if you watched the first CAD video, I showed you that dynamic input appears next to the crosshairs and basically kind of puts the command line to the bottom right of your crosshair. So again, I'm going to start at 0, 0 again, and this time it's going to look a little bit different. So with dynamic input on, you'll notice it's asking me for a distance here, and I also can visually see the angle here as well. So if I enter a distance of 5, then I hit tab, tab will take me over to the angle, and I can hit 45 here. Now from at this point here, I could hit enter, and it will draw the line at 5 at 45 degrees. But let's say I want to go back to the distance. I can hit tab again, and I can see what that looks like now and what that line's going to do. Now maybe I messed up and it was supposed to be 6. I can hit tab and enter, and I can draw the line. So that's another way to do it, and I continue drawing lines that way if I want as well. Now, so that's lines kind of using dynamic input. So now let's say you have to draw something, and I'm going to turn dynamic input off now, and all my angles are going to be 30 degrees. So there's another command down here called polar tracking. Now you'll notice it says polar tracking F10. F10 is the quick shortcut you can hit on the keyboard to enable polar tracking. So let's click the little down arrow next to it. Now this will display the angles in which I can track. So right now it's set to 45 degrees. So if I change mine to 30, and you'll see it lights up now, and I go into the line command, if I start a line, and I'm going to pick anywhere now, and when I lock into 0, which is there, and then I'm going to lock into 30, there's 30. And I'm going to lock into here, that's just 60, and then I should have 90 right here, right? So using this method, I can push myself in this direction as long as I want. Like let's say go way out here, and let's lock myself in at 30 degrees. Where is it? There it is. Now, once I'm locked in here and I have that green dashed line, which I call locked in, I can just enter a number and it's going to go that set distance. So if I wanted to go 3 at that set distance and I hit enter, you'll notice it draws a line at 3, that set distance. And then again, I can do the same thing and keep drafting if I wanted to. And 3, and put myself in the other 3, and then put myself in the other direction 3, and I've just created an easy cube. Escape always to get out of commands. You have to hit escape twice to exit almost all commands. So that's just a few different ways to draw a line there. Now, when drawing lines, you'll notice there's probably a million different ways people are going to do it. The best way, personally, if you're going to learn right from scratch, is probably to get used to using this dynamic input mode and learn from there, as this is probably the easiest way to draft things. Now, there's a few other ways. If I just had to make things 90, you might notice that polar tracking has 90. Well, there's another command right next to polar tracking called ortho mode. And if I turn ortho mode on, I can really draw a quick box, no problem. If you look, it kind of locks you in at 90, 0, 180, 270. And just kind of, all you got to do is put yourself in that direction and you can pretty much draw a quick square or whatever you want. And again, to get rid of it, you can either click on each individual line, or here's a new way, click in one area, click in the other. Now, when the screen is blue, that's what we call a window, meaning only what's inside the window will be selected, meaning if I don't have that whole line, which you can kind of see here, this line right here, if you notice it's not within the box, it's not going to select it. It's also not selecting these lines here because it's also not within the box. This is called the window command, or just windowing. So if by windowing something, I can window it and hit delete, and it'll delete out whatever's selected. Now if you notice what's selected is only one line. There's also crossing window, which is different than window. If you notice, I'm going from the other side to the left side. So I'm going from right to left for crossing. And whatever's in the window as well as touching the window will be selected when you do crossing window, meaning I should get this line and this line here. There you go. So again, two different ways to do it. So you can either window it all, crossing window. I always tell people if you want to make sure you're deleting something, use a crossing window and hit delete key again. Or again, you have your eraser command, which will do the exact same thing. So whatever one you want to use, please do. Now, while in the line command, you'll notice we can do a few different things here. First of all, when in the line command, if I click here and I stop here and I get back in the line command and I just hit enter, it'll put me back right where I left off. Now, this is great if you remember where you left off, but if you don't, you'll probably end up wanting to go to the end point of that line. So that's one way to do it. So if I drew a line here and I went like this, and I just wanted to close this line, yes, I could go to the end point of it, or I can type in CL, enter, and it would also close the line. So these are just all kind of quick tips and tricks. So in the line command, you do not have to close it yourself. You can always get to a point, type in CL, and it'll close the line for you. So pretty easy. And again, if you ever mess up, you always have the undo key, which is up here in the top left-hand corner. Just kind of click it a few times and you'll notice you can sit here and undo to your heart's content. Now you can also click the down arrow and decipher where you last left off and go from there. It's really up to you. You can really get too carried away with undo sometimes, so use it wisely. Alright, so let's just draw a quick item using polar real quick. I drew something using dynamic. I noticed I didn't draw something using polar. So I'm going to go back into the line command here, and I'm going to turn on polar tracking and leave it at 90. In fact, you know what? I'm not even going to use polar tracking. I'm going to use ortho for this. So if I want to just draw simple objects, I'm going to go like this. I'm going to go 7, enter, and then I'm going to go 3, enter, and then 7, enter. And again, I'm just drawing a very simple object. I believe this is in a book. I don't remember which book, but you know, just kind of playing around. And you kind of just create this object. Again, I call this lines by direction personally. I just put myself in the direction I want to go, make sure it's locked in at the correct angle, then type in my distance. It seems to be the easiest way to draft, and that was using ortho, but of course you can always do the same thing using your polar as well. So you just lock yourself in, go 6, and then again 6, and you can draw this however you want, maybe go 10 this time, and then hit CL for close to close back, whatever you want to do. But those are the few different ways you can draw lines using AutoCAD. Alright, so now that we've learned how to draw lines, how do we draw other objects? So let's learn how to draw a rectangle real quick. So the rectangle command is located right here. It's kind of hard to see. If you click the down arrow accidentally, you'll see also it also includes the polygon command, but we're going to want the rectangle command. So let's click rectangle, and again, I got to pick a starting point. So this again can be a coordinate if you want, 0, 0, whatever you want to do, and you can create a rectangle. Now, you can create the rectangle a few different ways. You can create it using an area. So if you wanted to make a rectangle that was, 100 square feet and had a length of 50, obviously it's not going to work for that one, huh? And let's say based on length, and let's go 50 again. Sorry, I clicked the wrong thing. There we go. And you can kind of create a simple rectangle. The way I use rectangle the most is I will set the rectangle, and then I will hit D for dimension. And honestly, I can do whatever I want. So if I wanted to set it to be like an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, I can type in 8.5 by 11, hit enter, and click once for the rotation, and then I have a rectangle. Now let's do that one more time because people get confused on this one a little bit. So again, I'm picking a place, I'm hitting D for dimension, I'm entering 8.5 for the length, I'm entering 11 for the width. Now, a lot of people think the rectangle's there. You have to, right now it's really what it's asking you for is the rotation, or are you good? So give it one click, and that will confirm that that rectangle is in the correct position and that you are good to go with it. So again, that is the rectangle command. Alright, so we can also draw circles. Again, circles are much more complicated than rectangles. There's a slew of more commands in here. We're not going to go over them all. We'll go over the two basic ones for right now. So we have circle, center, radius. So if I click circle, center, radius, again, look at the command line. It's going to ask us to specify the center point for the circle. So we're going to pick a point, and it's good to remember that this is a radius here. Now, when you use the radius one, you'll notice is once you get to it asking you for the radius, you can always at this point hit D for diameter to give it a diameter instead. So if you accidentally did click on radius, right now you could hit D for diameter to go to it, but try not to get into that habit. So I'm going to enter a radius of 1. Now I'm going to come into here, circle diameter, and I'm going to use something called our O snaps. I know we haven't gone over them yet, but I'm going to hold the shift and right click down for right now. And I'm going to go to center here, and I'm going to hit 1 again and put it right there. So you'll see, again, circles are pretty self-explanatory. Again, all you have to do is kind of watch this command prompt, and you should be able to kind of figure out what's going on and what your next plan of action is. Now, if you notice, if I can have 2 circles here, so let me put another circle in real quick, and right there. Now, you can also do something what we call TanTan Radius. Now, if you notice, I'm skipping over 2-point and 3-point because TanTan Radius and TanTan are very similar to those. Basically, what the command itself is giving you what it needs. So, to use this command, you need 2 tangents and a radius. So, if I wanted to put a circle here and a circle here, meaning it's tangent to both of those, let me do it again because I kind of misexplained it. So again, if I wanted to put a circle tangent to here, and I knew it had a radius of 2, I could hit enter, and it will put that circle right in there and kind of create some Mickey Mouse ears, coincidentally. So again, it's kind of a cool command. I really like using those. So you'll find me a lot of times just using that. And again, of course, remember, you can always undo to get your stuff back if you accidentally erase it. So remember that undo command will help you if you just act, oh no, I didn't want to erase the little circle in the middle. You can always hit the undo command, or you can hit U enter on the keyboard just to do something different. Now the best way honestly is to get some drawing practice and to draw some items. I will try to link some quick drawing practice things at the end of this video. Feel free to give them a try. I'll give you guys some PDFs of those items and draw them. Again, the more you draw them, the better you're going to get. And draw them multiple different ways. Try using dynamic input. Try using polar. Try using the old school method if you want. I mean, if you really wanted to, set the object up at 0, 0 and use coordinates to draw the whole thing. It's really up to you, but find kind of what works best for you and practice. That's the best way to kind of draw things. So again, this is CAD Class Chapter 2. Again, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. There's plenty of more videos coming. And again, if you want to see something else, or maybe the video was off or you didn't like it, or there was something else you would like to see, put it in the comments section below. And believe me, I will get to it and I will make a video for you, or I will revise the video to help make things a little bit better for you. Again, I'll see you guys in the next video.